Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and today I wanted to talk about something that I've been thinking about for a while, and that is taking Levolution and destruction one step further in Battlefield. You guys are probably like me and love Levolution. You love how destruction allows you to change the environment around you. It makes the world feel more alive and dynamic, and it really sets Battlefield apart from a lot of other first-person shooters out there. Like, it truly is fantastic. But one thing that I've always been a little disappointed by, and where I honestly think that there is a lot of room for potential, is that these major Levolution moments only have one phase to them. And so let's say, for example, you're playing on Caspian border, you take out the tower. It's epic, it's amazing, it falls to the ground, it gives you another route from forest on over into hilltop. You change the way that that objective is taken. That is great. Like, that is one of the best things about Levolution. But that's it for your interaction with that antenna itself. Like, that's all you can do for the destruction. It doesn't allow you to take it a step further. And so my idea is that why can't, once it falls, why can't you shoot some RPGs at it to maybe open it up and expose what's going on inside? And so if you know that there are a couple enemies that are trying to make their way on the hilltop, but you can't see them from the river itself, you could just shoot a couple of rockets at it and then expose anyone that's trying to make their way up there. And then if you want to take it even a step further, if you are someone who wants to hold on to hilltop, that is your objective, you want to hold on to that the entire round, but you're having a hard time now that the enemy has an extra route to get up there and you just can't cover every single flank, why not have it so that there is a weak spot on the fallen antenna where if you shoot multiple RPGs, or maybe if you put a C4 charge on it, it will make it fully collapse into the river so that route is no longer available. Another example that comes to mind is Siege of Shanghai. When the tower falls, once again, it's epic, it's amazing, it changes the way that you can approach that objective, but that's it for the interaction and the destruction and the dynamic type of combat, because if you shoot an RPG at one of the many walls in there, you can't destroy it. It's basically an arena, or a smaller arena within this very large map that you would assume would have more destruction, but I guess I'm assuming maybe this is just the limitations of the Frostbite engine, but once the Levolution moment happens, that's it for any more destruction in that area. And so what I would like to see in maybe a future Battlefield title, or maybe in a future DLC, I'll cross our fingers, as long as the Frostbite engine has this capability, is that once a major Levolution moment happens, why does there only have to be one phase to it? I think that if they work around it and allow the world to actually feel a little bit more dynamic, it would really push things to the next level. Maybe I'm being a little bit too greedy, maybe I'm expecting too much from the Battlefield franchise, but I honestly think that this would be fantastic and a lot of people would appreciate it. Another thing that I've been pondering with how to push this to the next level is to have more events affecting more than just one objective on the map, because right now there is usually only one objective that is truly changed by one of these major Levolution moments happening, and some don't even affect them at all. I would say that the best examples, or the best ones, would be Siege of Shanghai, the tower falling down, you have Caspian border, and Hainan Resort. Those are three solid maps that truly do transform the way that you have to take those points. But all of the others can be a little lackluster or really don't do anything at all. You have the structure falling on Rogue Transmission, you have the pitiful little tower falling down on Operation Locker, you have the bridge crumbling on Dawnbreaker, and while it does change things slightly, it's not all that impressive. And I think that the best example of this is Langkang Dam. The Levolution moment on this map is honestly pitiful. Like, it looks amazing, don't get me wrong. The visuals and the graphics look stunning. When you see the rocks tumbling all over the place, it's epic and amazing, but it doesn't do anything. Like, sure, rubble scatters all over the place, water's displaced, awesome, that's cool, but it doesn't change the way that you're gonna get from point A to point B or how you capture an objective. And honestly, just after maybe like 2 minutes of thinking about how they could have implemented it, instead of having the two capture points off to the side, why not put them in the center so that when the dam crumbles, the rocks are flying all over, have it so that the rocks slam into one of the buildings to either just rip it apart, maybe have it completely collapse to the ground, or make it so that it just rips through it entirely so that a section of it is completely exposed, so that when you try to take that objective, you now have to run out in the open. There are a lot of possibilities that they could have done with Langkang Dam, and I honestly think it was one of the biggest missed opportunities, at least for the Levolution moment. And so what I would like to see is to have more of those dynamics going on, and also with the different phases of the destruction, as I was talking about before. But on top of that, maybe I'm pushing this too far, is to also just not have one central major Levolution moment happening, but maybe a couple smaller ones on some of the other of the objectives that changes things slightly. It doesn't need to be a nuke going off all over the place. We don't want to have everything crumbling to the ground, or it doesn't need to be crazy dynamic, but it would just be nice if you are trying to take a point, you're struggling with taking that point because the enemy is taking advantage of something on that objective. You eliminate that advantage, and then you're able to push on in and capture the point. I think that would be fantastic. But the main takeaway point, if that isn't possible, is to have these different phases of destruction for Levolution. As I said, the tower on Caspian Border I think would be the best example. You take it down, that would be the first phase, but then the second phase is that if your team is just really struggling to hold on to Hilltop because of that extra route, having the option to either blow out the sides to make it a lot harder for the enemy to get up there because they're now going to be exposed to everything around them, or just to be able to completely blow it to the ground so that it crumbles in half and so that it is then in the water. If you're able to replicate that and have multiple or different phases for different Levolution moments on different maps, I think that would be the big next step for Battlefield. But I would like to get your guys' take on this. Does this sound appealing? Would you like to see this in a future Battlefield game, or maybe in a future DLC? We could always cross our fingers. But who knows? Maybe it's not even possible. Maybe the Frostbite engine does not have these capabilities. But I truly do believe that this may be the next step that Battlefield is going to take, and it would just make the worlds feel more alive and dynamic and not as static as they do after these events happen. But that's about it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and so until tomorrow, have a good one and take it easy.